Lucent Engine was a company Mike Giesti created. What looked like a legitimate new company quickly became something much darker. In less than 6 months, people say that company was pulled apart from the inside. What started as a team brought together from different backgrounds, different states, and different skill sets looked like the beginning of something real, a budding company, a real team, a real opportunity. But according to the people who were there, that opportunity was exploited. Trust was built, momentum was created. People invested time, energy, work, and belief into a thing that they thought had a future. Then Mike tore it apart. What looked like a company being built began to look to many involved like a company being used and destroyed from within. Because this story is not just about Lucent Engine. It is about the names people say they encountered, the stories people started comparing, the businesses, profiles, and public records that appear to connect, and the growing number of people who believe they were pulled into the same pattern. At first, it looked isolated. One company, one story, one bad experience. Then more stories started surfacing. Different people, different places, different timelines, but details that kept sounding disturbingly familiar. A polished image, a convincing pitch, a sense of legitimacy. Then confusion, disappearance, excuses, new names, new pages, and more people left trying to understand what really happened. Public reporting previously connected the name Corey James to Michael Corey Graves and described complaints from customers who said they lost thousands of dollars. Public business listings also tied the Apex Construction/QJT Holdings cluster to the Corey James name, the AustinApex.com website, and the same Round Rock contact details. That is where this gets bigger than one company, because when one name becomes two, and two becomes five, and the stories keep repeating, people start asking a different question. How many times can someone reappear before the pattern becomes impossible to ignore? Some people knew him by one name. Others say they knew him by another. Some remember a company. Others remember a promise. Others remember money changing hands, trust being built, and then everything unraveling. And around that trail, another name keeps appearing in people's accounts. Maybe Michelle, maybe Susie, maybe something else. A second person people say was present, involved, or connected. A second figure in the background of stories that still need to be fully documented. This is why people need to come forward carefully, clearly, and with documentation. Not rumors, not recycled posts, not guesses. Screenshots, contracts, invoices, emails, texts, call logs, wires, original social posts, photos with dates, public record documents. Anything that helps establish who was involved, what name was used, what business was presented, and what happened next. Because one story can be dismissed, two stories can be questioned. But when many people who have never met start describing the same pattern, that matters. If you dealt with Mike Giesti, Michael Corey Graves, Corey James, Apex Construction, QJT Holdings, AustinApex.com, or anyone you believe was working alongside him, now is the time to preserve what you have. Save it. Back it up, organize it, because pages disappear, websites change, phone numbers move, names shift, but records can still connect the trail. This video is not the end of the story. It is a signal to the people who have seen pieces of it. If you have your own story, bring the evidence. If you have records, preserve them. If you have first-hand documentation, share it through the proper channels so the full pattern can finally be seen. Because the truth gets harder to hide when the stories line up. If you've been scammed by either of these fraudsters, make sure to file claims with local law enforcement wherever the crimes were committed. Scan the QR code to share your story. Thanks for watching.